Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be working on the LT4. Alright guys, we're taking a break on the Corvette project and we'll be working on the LT4 today because there's some parts I want to get on here just to help clean up the shop a little bit. Actually, the oil pan's been sitting in my front foyer for like 2 months. I want to get that out of here. I want to get that installed today. And I actually want to answer a question that has come up, and that is this rear timing cover. Is this thing fully sealed? Oh, I can see it on there now. There's fresh RTV on there. And the reason that question came up is because I was not sure how familiar Ken was with these LT motors. I know he mostly does LS, he does small block and big block, but this Gen 5 stuff, I'm not sure how familiar he was with them. But yeah, looking at it, it looks like he put RTV on the back here. So that's awesome. So hey, that's one less thing we got to worry about. So with us not having to touch the back, we can go ahead, jump back on the front, get that lined up, get that front cover permanently installed, because right now it's just bolted on there. Get that permanently installed, and then we should be able to install that oil pan. And the other thing is, you guys will see over here, I ordered this a while ago. This is a 10-speed flex plate. I believe it is a shared part number between the 8 speeds and the 10 speeds. I don't think it's the same as the 6L80. It might be the same as a 6L80 or 6L90 in a CTSV, because it does have, I think it's an 8-bolt crank instead of the standard 6. Yeah, I think it's 8 versus 6. So yeah, that might be something that we install. And I just went ahead and bought that flex plate because it was brand new. It was $46 or something like that from Rock Auto. So yeah, I was like, I'm not going to put a used one back in the truck when it's less than 50 bucks. So all right guys, here is the oil pan. The GM part number for this, it is going to be 12739-177. I got this on Rock Auto. Again, this was like, I think it was $115, something like that. So yeah, 120 bucks isn't a ton of money. It is a little bit of money, but there's two things why I wanted to do this. Is A, I can sell my motor complete whenever that thing gets removed. I can sell it basically intake to oil pan. So that will help us in selling it and getting rid of it. And the second part is, it actually will help us to seal this thing up and not have to have it sit on my engine stand with a plastic bag over it. We can put the oil pan on, seal the bottom end, put a seal up front, seal it in this crank, and then I could tape off the intake and exhaust ports. And then also we could put the valve covers on, and that will basically allow us to have a fully sealed long block. Let's go ahead and get this thing prepped. Now, I will say this, guys, I am going to take the bottom windage tray off. I just want to make sure there's nothing in that oil pan that's sitting underneath that tray. There could be. And basically what I saw was the foot-pounds for those bolts on there. It's basically going to be 8 foot-pounds. I think it's 106 something inch-pounds. 8 foot-pounds will be just fine. So I just want to double-check that before we go ahead and put the oil pan on there. I don't want to make sure there's any gunk, grime, metal, anything potentially in the bottom of that oil pan that could screw up our brand new motor. So also, I have a brand new front seal. This is part number 12634614. That'll go on here. We got to take the ARP bolt back off. All right, guys, I just gave the oil pan the old compressed air and brake cleaner combo cleaning, and I basically just sprayed off everything and blew everything out. There were just tiny chunks of cardboard and fibrous material from the box, as well as the bag, that were kind of just sitting in places where they shouldn't be, and I don't want it to be sucked up by the motor, go in the filter or anything like that. So we just cleaned everything off. The new oil pan does come with a new oil filter. It comes with a block off plate. It comes with all of the bolts. You guys can see some of them are in there, some of them have fallen out. Got a whole stack of them in that box over there. Now, there's two things we want to be critical here. I think there are some alignment dowels. Oh, guys, I was just about to say that you need to be worried about the alignment on this thing. But guys, this thing almost dropped down perfectly, and we're pretty much good to go. There are a couple alignment dowel pins on this thing, and if you guys can hear, there's barely any movement. I mean, it's not even a 32nd of an inch, and I'm pushing it from different directions. So this thing is pretty solid. So, all right, we got the cover off. Really, the only thing you got to worry about here is there are alignment dowels on this as well. I think you can move around a little bit more than the oil pan, so we do want to make sure that we get that as close as possible as we can. And, you know, to basically get this thing installed, we got to go ahead and use the GM RTV. Part number is 888-64346, and it's just a tube of silicone from GM. So, all right, guys, we have the back of the cover. I have put the RTV on it. You guys will also see we have a seal here. I just pushed that in from the front, and we're pretty much ready to go. Basically, we just want to line it up and make sure we get those alignment rods put in their proper spot. So Alright guys, like we said earlier, this is going to torque down to 18 foot-pounds, and we're pretty much just going to start our way in the middle and work our way out. Alright guys, that is pretty much going to be it for the front cover. We got the seal like we said. We pushed it down. I don't know if you guys caught it on camera, but I did try to wiggle this. This thing ain't moving, guys. There's not much play with those dowel rods, those pins that are in both the block and the cover. So as soon as I stuck that on, it was pretty good to go. Then I put my square on both sides, and it's pretty flat. So shouldn't be much of an issue there. And feeling it now, it's about the same as it was earlier, but that's all right. I think we should be good to go. Oh, and also don't forget to plug in your oil pump, because if you don't do that, it's a real big pain in the butt to take all this stuff off to plug that back in. All right, guys, we have put the RTV on the pan rail, and also if you look over here on the block in the four corners, it's basically the same as an LS, where the covers mean we put it there, and then those two spots in the back corner. Alright guys, we have gotten all of the 13mm bolts, just like the LS motor, the two back bolts torqued down. I think it's 8 foot-pounds instead of the 18. Let me double check that, and I think it's a 10mm. So just so that you guys are aware, there are two the same bolts that the LS motors have. I think they torque down to like 8 foot-pounds, something like that. Alright, I just looked it up. These last two torque down to 8.3 foot-pounds, so just like the LS. don't over torque these, because you will snap them off in the block. And I just saw the big dent in this oil filter. So if you guys have been watching this whole video, me tightening this down with a messed up oil filter, I just saw that. I haven't noticed it at all. Rock Auto shipped the oil pan in a box. It was a box within a box. It was not packaged the greatest, I'll admit that. But yeah, I have cleaned this oil pan out, and I just now saw the messed up filter. I do have other ones sitting here in stock, so I'll just leave it the way it is. That way, if this thing gets crushed or anything, it's not a good filter that we'll be ruining. We'll just be ruining a already trashed oil filter. So, but yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for the bottom end. Let's go ahead and flip this thing back over. All right, guys, I think it's been about another hour, and we have managed to clean off both of the valve covers. Got all the hardware just tightened down with the impacts, you know, real lightly. And then, so you guys can see we have both valve covers on. And yes, I am aware, I'm pretty sure that this is the driver's side valve cover and shouldn't be on the passenger side. So that should be over there, and they should be flip-flopped. But we're gonna have to go ahead and pop these off sometime in the future anyway, because we need to get the rockers ordered, and then we need to measure for push rods. I will not be doing that. I'm gonna be farming that out to a buddy of mine, and we'll talk about that at a future date. And one more thing before we go, I was actually gonna try to put a oil cap on here. This is actually the oil cap from my C7 dry sump tank. That's the one that we swapped into the vet behind us. And I was actually trying to install this on the valve cover, but this has the same issue that the LSA and LS9 valve covers have. If you guys look, there's an extra nub here. There's the big nub, which is the one that basically is going to feed into here, and then you tighten it, and that screws against that big nub. This little nub, my LSA and LS9 valve covers had the same thing, and with that nub on there, you cannot use a traditional oil cap. I actually had to take a diamond bit and I ground that off. Now with the trucks, they have kind of a remote oil fill cap, and so they've got this whole assembly that kind of sticks up here, and this pretty much would tighten up here. But if you guys wanted to delete that fill cap, you can go ahead, grind that nub off, and a traditional oil cap should fit in there. But the problem with the truck setup is the valve covers, the coil packs, you can see I moved it over to the driver's side, but if you have that second coil pack on here, you will not be able to fit this oil cap into here and then try to tighten it down. And so yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for today's video. We did make a ton of progress. We got the oil pan on, we got the front cover on permanently, we got the valve covers on, and then we tried to put a oil cap on there, but unfortunately that doesn't fit with that extra nub. Now I wanted today's goal to be a sealed long block. We're almost there, but we're not there quite just yet. Unfortunately, we still have the holes in the head for the injector, so we need to plug that. We need to plug the intake ports. We need to plug the exhaust ports. We need to plug the water pump, the PCVs. There's one here. There's one here. So the big ones on the valve covers. The high pressure fuel pump, I don't own that just yet. And what else? Fuel rails. I do have the injectors, all the hoses that go in here. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that we still need to order, and unfortunately cost a bit of money. The high pressure fuel pump, the stock one, is like 800 to 900 bucks. Those aftermarket rocker arms we've been looking at, those are like $1,000. So, and yeah, so that stuff adds up real quick. We'll get there eventually, but not quite yet. And I actually do have a bunch of stuff we could continue to bolt on the motor. I have the water pump, the accessory drive, I got the alternator mount, all that stuff up here, the air conditioner mount, I think that goes down here. So there is other stuff that we could install, but unfortunately I need to make this engine easily transportable, and having all those accessories on here will just be in the way and make the engine actually weigh even more, and they would just be in the way because we do need to be able to get this into the back of my pickup and drive it a few hours, because my buddy that's going to help me with the push rods actually lives in eastern North Carolina. So that's like a 3-hour drive each way. And I really don't want to have any extra weight, any accessories. So this is going to have to remain here until we get those rocker arms ordered and the push rods done. And then we can kind of start doing the mock-up of all the accessories and all that. So yeah, that's gonna be it. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. If you want to follow along for more updates on the LT4, the blower, all this stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out all the links down below. We should have some link to the RTV that we use, some of the tools that we use, the bolts and all these accessories. Maybe the front cover, I think they had that on Amazon for a while, but the bolt, some stuff like that. We'll get you all those links down below. And also make sure you check out our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. We've got hats, we got t-shirts, we got stickers, we've got used parts, we've got a ton of used C6 parts all up there and stuff that we've been taking off the Corvette. And that's pretty much all on the website, and that's gonna be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.